Okay, imagine being known for 40 years because of your socks. Not your name, not your family, just your orange socks. And honestly, that sounds like the title of an indie band nobody understands. Hello, lovelies. How are we today? Real quick, I'm Summer. This is All Day Mystery. And if you've been here before, welcome back. If you're new, welcome. I like to do a little thing called true crime and some mystery, sometimes a lot of bit of mystery. And today's story, you're going to want to stay tuned for. So sit down, have some coffee, have some tea. Let's do this. In 1979, a truck driver in Texas found the body of a young woman near Interstate 35. She had been strangled. She had no ID. No one knew who she was. But investigators noticed one thing immediately: bright orange knee-high socks. And somehow that became her identity, which also proves detectives will absolutely nickname you after one clothing item. Like, if I disappear tomorrow wearing Crocs, I'm becoming Culvert Crocs girl. Oh, wait. I don't wear Crocs, just work clothes and school clothes all the time. So that's what I would become. Huh. Okay. For decades, nobody claimed her. No missing persons reported matched. No family knew where she'd gone. So police called her Orange Socks. When Debra Jackson was found in 1979, something about it didn't feel isolated. Young women, strangled, left off the highway in Royal, Texas. And when investigators looked back at earlier cases, they noticed this happened before. Women like Judith Ann Judy Smith, Mary Ann Perez, and Sherry Lee Cabrillo. And if I said that wrong, I do apologize. Same decade, same type of victim, bodies left near highways, strangulation. So the question became, was this one person or something even more unsettling? Different killers, following the same pattern along the same Texas roads. Investigators reportedly received calls from an unidentified woman more than once about the Orange Socks case. Not one call, several calls. She gave small pieces of information about the case, things that sounded like she might know something from the inside. But here's the problem. She was never identified, never traced, never confirmed. And just like that, the call stopped being a lead and started becoming another mystery inside the case. To this day, nobody knows who she was or why she was calling. And that leads to a haunting question in my mind. What if she wasn't just a tipster? What if she was involved? On paper, investigators would only believe that she knew details the public didn't, things that couldn't be guessed or pulled from rumors. But in this case, nothing like that was ever confirmed. She called investigators 3 times. No name, no face, just a voice slipping in and out of a murder case, like she hit dial on a secret she wasn't ready to explain. So the question is, was she trying to help solve it or making sure she stayed off the list? And then enters the weirdest part of this story. Serial killer Henry Lee Lucas. This man confessed to basically everything. I swear, investigators could have asked him who stole somebody's lunch from the office fridge, and he'd be like, yeah, that was me. Lucas confessed to killing Orange Socks and was even convicted. Case closed, right? Not exactly. Years later, investigators realized something huge. Henry Lee Lucas lied. Like a lot. Like hundreds of false confessions. At one point, his confession count was so high, I'm surprised he didn't confess to sinking the Titanic. He probably just wanted all the attention and stake. I mean, if you have nothing better to do, I guess. The only case Henry Lee Lucas was ever truly convicted of is the murder of his mother back in 1960. Everything else, the hundreds of killings he later claimed, didn't hold up under investigation. Because when detectives checked the timelines, the locations, and the facts, a lot of it simply didn't line up. So what's left is this strange reality. One confirmed crime and a lifetime of confessions that blurred the line between truth and attention, which makes you wonder, how many cases did he solve and how many did he accidentally blur in confusion? Thanks a lot, Henry. So, boom, like that. The case reopened, and Orange Socks stayed unidentified for decades until 2019. Using forensic genetic genealogy, investigators finally gave her back her name, Debra Jackson. She was 23 years old. Debra was born in Louisiana around 1956. She died in 1979 between October 30th and the 31st. Her family said she had a difficult life and drifted away from home while still young. By the late 1970s, she was traveling around Texas and the southern U.S. Friends that knew her said she loved traveling. Investigators later learned she may have hitchhiked, stayed in cheap motels, worked odd jobs, and spent time around truck stops along Interstate 35. The heartbreaking part is her family never stopped wondering. They never stopped wondering what happened to her. But because communication was harder back then, no internet, no social media, no national databases, people could disappear frighteningly easily. And Debra essentially vanished into the cracks of the system. The 70s were basically, you haven't seen your relative in 3 years? They're probably fine. But she wasn't forgotten. In 2019, forensic genealogists used DNA to finally identify her after 40 years. When investigators contacted her family, they learned she had siblings, people had been searching for her, and she had been loved the entire time. That part hits because for decades, the world treated her like a mystery, while to somebody, she was just Debra. She wasn't Orange Socks. She was Debra. When investigators examined her body, they found male DNA under her fingernails and other places as well, which means one thing. She fought. She scratched whoever was hurting her. She left evidence. In her final moments, she wasn't just trying to survive. She was trying to make sure they could be caught one day. For decades, that DNA just sat there waiting for technology to catch up. And now it's still one of the strongest clues in the case. She didn't go quietly. She left her mark. So why hasn't anyone caught? Like, why hasn't anybody been caught? Well, this is because the sample was too old and too degraded to build a full profile, unfortunately. She fought back, she left evidence, but the technology at the time couldn't read what she left behind. And even today, it's still not strong enough to name who did this. So she wasn't Orange Socks. She wasn't a cold case. She wasn't a headline. She was Debra Jackson. And somebody took her life, then left her unnamed for 40 years. Imagine your family searching for you for 40 years. Well, the whole country only knew you as a pair of socks. And the creepiest part of this, even now, Debra Jackson's real killer may still be out there. And here's the frustrating part. This case might already be solved. Like we talked about, investigators have male DNA connected to the murder, but no match. Which means somewhere out there, somebody either knows this man, like the unidentified woman that investigators couldn't figure out for some reason, or is this man. And may not even realize police still have the DNA waiting. So are these ladies all connected by having the same person take their lives? Or are these several different incidences? And if so, that means there's more than one, there's more than a couple out there, and they have not been caught. And how scary of a thought is that? If you're still here, Thanks for sticking around. I'm glad to have you. Maybe give me a like, maybe give me a subscribe, give me a comment. Tell me what you think about this. I don't really think there's a lot of cases that talk about this. There's not a lot of people that talk about this case. I think it's a big deal. I mean, we know who she is now, but it took a long time to figure that out. And I understand why it did, but we still don't have the killer, and that's really scary, along with these other cases, these other ladies. Next week, I plan on going over Lizzie Borden, if you're interested. But as always, watch your back and don't touch strangers.